the widow between two wild tribes. The storm roared. The snowbound forest shuddered as if two colossal beasts were brawling in the dark. Wind screamed in long howls and white lashes of snow cracked like whips. From her cabin window, Abigail froze. She witnessed a sight no one had ever seen: two tribes of Bigfoot, huge feral, colliding. Blows and slams made the earth thunder. Fur flew. Red streaked the snow. Out of the melee, two small shapes were flung and tumbled to her porch. Two baby Bigfoots, shivering breaths as thin as thread eyes, glazed with tears. A massive warrior lunged, weapon raised, growling hoarsely. Warrior kill, one strike, and they would vanish into blood and snow. Abigail, no. She threw herself over them, gathered both into her arms, dragged them inside, and slammed the door. Outside, the roaring swelled. One tribe howled, stolen children. The other hissed, kill them all. The tiny cabin became the eye of an ancient storm of hate. How could a widow be hurled into such horror? This tale began on a night of fate. Before we go on, tell us the city you're listening from, and when it ends, rate the story from 0 to 10. Abigail, 63, lived alone in the woods. Years before, a blizzard had taken her husband and her little boy. That night, the child had whispered, "Mother, I'm so cold," and then was silent forever. Since then, her heart had cooled to ash. Only the dark cabin, a flickering fire, and an unfinished wool scarf remained. Tonight, the storm returned, fiercer than any in years. Abigail wrapped the scarf tight and waited for dawn. But a thin cry slipped through the howling wind, stabbing her memory like a knife. Children's voices. In a blizzard? Or is fate knocking again? She thought, trembling. When she opened the door, she saw not only two dying little ones, but a whirl of tribal hatred surging in the trees. Part 1. Tribes in the Blizzard. On red-streaked snow, the two Bigfoot tribes crashed together. One side powerful, the other scarred and ragged. Clubs, roars, bones cracking, all mixed with wind and ice. The forest became a battlefield. The two little ones were tossed clear and rolled to the porch. A warrior bellowed, weapon high. Kill Abigail didn't think. She ran, snatched them up, and pulled them into the cabin. Through the storm, the enemy chieftain fixed his eyes on her. In those deep black wells, she read a verdict: "You take child." Clutching the trembling lives, she whispered, "No, I only want to keep you alive." Part 2. The Besieged Cabin. She laid them on a worn rug before the fire. Their breathing was threadbare. One shook uncontrollably, lips purpled. The other lay still, chest fluttering, then stillness. Panicked, she stripped off her scarf and wrapped their frozen bodies. Her thin hands rubbed their tiny chests hard until her palms burned. She pressed them to her breast. Her breath steamed over their small faces. Memory crashed in her son dying in her arms. Abigail sobbed. Abigail. "No, I will not lose again. You must live." One baby was nearly gone. She pressed her ear to its chest. Silence. She sealed her trembling mouth over its mouth, blew short breaths, and with bony hands pumped the tiny ribs. Inside, she cried, "Beat. Heart, beat again. Hear my heart, yours must beat too." The moment stretched into forever. Then a sudden spasm, a ragged cough. Abigail broke into tears. "Abigail, that's it. Breathe, little one, breathe." The other still fluttered. She dipped a crumb of bread in warm water and touched it to the lips. Nothing. Then a small hand quivered and gripped her finger. She squeezed back and murmured, "Abigail, I'm here. Hold my hand. Don't let go." Outside roars rattled the walls, but inside the gold firelight revealed another battle, the fight to steal breath back from death. All night she did not sleep. She changed wet blankets, dried them, massaged stiff joints, and checked their warmth with a palm to the brow. Each faint breath sent her ear to their chests, listening. Those feeble breaths became her own heartbeat. While the storm still screamed, the tiny bodies finally stirred. Breaths gathered strength, two little flames rescued in the longest night. Part 3. A night of blood and misunderstanding. The roaring didn't stop. Giant shadows circled the cabin, convinced she had stolen their young. The door shuddered. Wood split. A warrior rasped back and rammed it. Abigail snatched a burning log and braced the entry. "Abigail, no one takes them if you must step over my body first." The warrior sprang onto the stoop, eyes glowing like coals. She swept smoke and fire across his face. The stink of singed fur filled the air. He roared and flung her aside. Blood ran from her arm and puddled red on the snow. The little ones crawled to her, shivering, clinging hard. Their wet black eyes pleaded, "Don't leave us." Abigail wrapped them tight, gasping, "Abigail, I'm here. I won't let go." A few warriors halted, staring at human blood smeared into infant fur. Their flaming eyes faltered, but the pack behind them snarled, kill hatred held. The cabin stood as a thin border between life and death. Part 4. The Heart's Moment. A deep roar rolled out and stilled the forest. The chieftain arrived, towering breath smoking in pale sheets. He struck his chest, thump, thump, eyes locked on Abigail. "Leader, return, child." Bleeding through her sleeve, Abigail stepped onto the porch, still cradling both. "Abigail, they have just come back to life. If I return them now, they will die. Please, give me time." The little ones burrowed into her, clutching tight. Her heartbeat thudded loud in the night. She bowed her head and whispered, "Abigail, listen. My heart is beating. Yours must beat too. Don't leave me." The leader watched long and unblinking. In his gaze, fury slackened into uncertainty. He saw it clearly, not stolen, but choosing. Silence. Then he drew a long, dark leaf, set it on the threshold, and lowered his head just slightly, a sign of truce. The ring of giants hushed. Even the wind seemed to ease. Abigail stood swaying, tears blurring the firelight. She knew a heart, not words, had saved them all. Part 5. A Promise in the White Woods. Next day, snow fell softly. Abigail kept tending, teaching them to sip water, to take soaked crumbs, to sleep warm by the hearth. At the tree line, large silhouettes appeared, not charging now, quietly, leaving healing leaves, dry grass, curled bark for cradles. Abigail smiled and whispered, "Abigail, you are heartbeat because your heart returned from death, and you are keeper because you hold this fragile trust." Their eyes brightened. They hugged her tight. She thought I was saving 2 tiny lives. But perhaps I'm saving the forest's forgiveness. Winters layered upon winters. Abigail grew frail. Her hands could no longer finish the scarf. Yet each season, 2 tall figures stood on the porch. Heartbeat and Keeper, grown strong, brought wood-lit fires and kept watch like true sons. In her last quiet moment, Abigail leaned back in her chair, palm over her chest, and whispered, "Abigail, that night I thought I saved 2 small lives, but you gave me back a heart." Both Bigfoots bowed, drummed their chests in a low, reverent rhythm, then pressed their brows to the cabin eaves. The forest wind no longer roared, only the warmth of a promise remained. If you believe compassion can turn hatred, share this story. And don't forget to subscribe to Bigfoot Tales for the next journey.